A watch is a funny thing. It can be a simple plastic tool you give a kid so they can learn to tell time. Or it can be a diamond-encrusted monster that costs more than a private jet. So how in the world does a humble little tool on your wrist turn into an object of pure mind-bending fantasy? Well, let's take that journey.
So over here, you've got a $30 flick-flack. It's fun, it's tough, and its only job is to teach. And then you've got this thing, the $50 million graph hallucination, which, let's be honest, seems designed to do anything but tell you the time. They both go on a wrist, but they are from two completely different universes.
And that really is the big question, isn't it? How does a simple time-telling machine morph into a story, a statement, and sometimes something just completely and utterly absurd? All right, let's trace that path step by step.
Every journey has to start somewhere, and for watches, it all starts right here with the first tick. This is square one, where a watch is all about function and maybe, just maybe, a little bit of fun.
For a lot of us, our journey started with something like that, $30 flick-flack. But then you get a little older. You want something cooler. And for about 40 bucks, you can get a Casio F91W. An absolute legend. It's tough, it's timeless, but this little watch has a surprisingly dark side. According to the source, it was a favorite of Osama bin Laden and was even used as a timer for his bombs. Yeah, talk about an unexpected legacy.
So, after the pure, simple function of the Casio, you hit your first real fork in the road. And this one isn't just about spending more money, it's almost philosophical. Are you going for tradition or are you going for tech? It's really a battle of soul versus silicon.
In one corner, you've got soul, something like the Timex Weekender, classic, simple, all-American style. And in the other corner, you've got silicon, the Apple Watch. It's practical, it makes you productive, and it is so dominant that by 2019, it was already outselling the entire Swiss watch industry. Yeah, all of them, combined.
But for all its power and convenience, the one knock you always hear against the Apple Watch is pretty simple. Watch purists just see it as a cold, sterile piece of tech. As they'd put it, your Apple Watch has no soul.
And, that very search for soul is what leads us to the next big jump. You start looking past the latest tech because you don't just want a tool anymore. You want a watch with a story.
And oh man, the watch world is packed with incredible stories. You've got Seiko, the brand that dropped the quartz bomb in 1969 with cheap battery-powered watches that nearly wiped out the traditional Swiss industry. Or the Cartier tank, whose design was literally inspired by World War I military tanks. And then you have the Omega Speedmaster, which earned its story in about the most extreme place you can imagine.
So that Speedmaster story, it's a good one. Back in 1965, NASA needed a watch for the Apollo program, so they bought a few different brands and basically tortured them. They froze them, boiled them, spun them around, just beat the heck out of them. The only one that kept ticking was the Omega. 4 years later, it was on the moon. And that one small step for man became one giant leap for Omega's marketing department, locking in its legendary status forever.
Okay, so at this stage in the journey, something really fundamental shifts. A watch stops being a tool with a cool story and turns into, well, a trophy. It becomes a signal to everyone else.
And that shift, well, it comes with a pretty serious price jump. We are now officially in the five-figure club, starting at around $10,000. And this, of course, brings us to the brand everyone on the planet knows, Rolex. The Submariner is a perfect example. When it came out in 1954, it was a $150 tool for professional divers. That's it. But thanks to some of the best marketing in history, it became a symbol of success. The whole reason for buying one totally flipped. It used to be, you were the man, so you bought a Rolex. Now you buy a Rolex in hopes of becoming the man. And from here, you might want to buckle up, because the journey completely veers off the map. We're going to leave any idea of practicality behind, because we are now entering a world where logic has checked out and a very, very expensive kind of absurdity takes over.
Honestly, that's the best way to put it. This whole next level is all just slightly absurd. But what if that absurdity is actually the whole point? I mean, just look at the features you're paying for in some of these mega watches. They'll have a tourbillon, this beautiful hypnotic spinning cage. It was invented to fight gravity's effect on pocket watches. In a modern wristwatch, completely useless. Or a Fusee chain mechanism. Again, totally obsolete. And the incredible expert hand finishing on all the tiny parts inside? You will literally never see it.
It's a pure celebration of beautifully pointless engineering. And trust me, it gets even weirder. For almost $700,000, you can get a Richard Mille that displays random erotic messages on the dial. I'm not kidding. Or for a cool $1.5 million, there's the Cartier Crash. The story goes it was inspired by a watch that literally melted in a car fire. It just shows you how far we've drifted from, just telling the time.
So now, here we are. We've arrived at the absolute peak of the mountain, the very end of the line. But there's one last delicious, ironic twist that brings this whole story full circle.
Now, before we see the final watch, the source material hits us with a pretty stark and uncomfortable quote to ground all this luxury in a harsh reality. These incredible diamonds, they form deep inside the earth, and then, as the source puts it, they inevitably get dug up by little African boys.
And this is where those gems end up. Meet the Graph hallucination, a $50 million watch completely covered in 110 carats of incredibly rare, colored diamonds. It is the final boss of opulence. So, what kind of revolutionary engine could possibly be powering this masterpiece?
For the big reveal, let's just quickly remember the humble quartz movement. It's that cheap, super accurate, battery-powered technology that Seiko used to almost destroy the entire Swiss watch industry. It's affordable, it's reliable, it's basic. And there it is, the punchline to this whole crazy journey. Ticking away beneath 110 carats of the rarest gems on planet Earth, that $50 million watch is powered by the exact same cheap, humble quartz movement that was probably in your first $30 watch. After all that, the journey has come completely full circle. It ends exactly where it began. So it really makes you wonder, what is a watch? Is it a tool? Is it a toy? A status symbol? A piece of art? Or maybe, after all of this, it's just a story that we decide to wear on our wrist. Makes you think, right? What story does yours tell?